So here's the situation. We're in Moab, Utah for a business trip. My husband is actually in a different part of the country on the ultimate adventure, so go look that up on YouTube. You'll find him everywhere. And so my son and I, say hi.
Hi.
Are down here representing his company for Blazer Bash, and I'll show you some of what we're doing. Rock crawling and stuff like that. This is not a very good, not a very good representation of it because you can't see much, but here we go.
That probably looks like we just went up something flat.
Anyway,
Being so angry.
so basically when we go over a big obstacle, our entire group stops and we wait to make sure everyone makes it. And so I have all this time that I could whip out my tiny little sketchbook there and paint something. And I didn't think I had that water brush, and when I found that I was so excited. And I was all sad because I didn't have a water brush, but I was admiring my paint kit, and let me turn around and show that to you. I was pulling this out because I'm like, oh, it's so cute, and then I'm like, oh, this paint set's so cute, and I opened it up. There's a water brush, and I'm so excited about it because now I can paint out here. Because I just don't have, you know, it's like 10-15 minute stops. I can't pour water in a dish and expect to keep it. You can tell how bumpy this is, so now that I found the water brush, we can do some painting. Let's talk about the scenery in Moab for a minute, which is why it's the perfect place to paint if you can. Anyway, this is the first day we were there, and our group ended up splitting in half, and so we moved a lot quicker after I filmed that intro. I did not get a chance to paint is the point of that. However, the second day, someone broke down, which usually happens on these trips, which is why I usually bring something to do, a book to read, or something to draw or paint, because we end up sitting on the trail for quite a while. And this repair was actually a much shorter one, but I still got a chance to paint. I didn't catch much on video because it was just me. Everyone else was busy fixing vehicles, but here is what I did catch. And in case you missed it in the beginning, I briefly showed the sketchbook I'm using. This one happens to be the tiniest Etchr Sketchbook that I own. It is 100% cotton paper, very nice. So you can see I didn't catch it all. It's too hard to paint out sitting on a rock, holding all your supplies, and holding a phone too. And like I said, everyone else was busy helping fix the vehicle. So I caught what I could, and you can see the paper looks, I don't know, acts, it's real pretty. Like, it is 100% cotton, and it kind of gives you that fabric-y feel when you put the paints on it. At least these paints, these particular paints, which happen to be the Kuretake Gansai Tambi portable set that I reviewed, and I'll link that video up in the top and in the description box below. They're pretty fun. I was a little afraid to use them because their pans are pretty empty. Don't want to run out of them, but as you guys know, watercolors and things like these aren't exactly watercolors, but same difference, last forever, so I think we'll be okay. And I do have to say, this is a great combination. This tiny Etchr sketchbook, this portable Kuretake palette was really nice. The fact that it has a little liner that fits in it, water brush with a fine point, but that can still do kind of sort of a big space. It just was a good combination. It worked really well. I'm off screen here because, you know, I can't hold a phone, a sketchbook, and my pen at the same time, but there you can see I just signed and dated this. But wait, there's more. I'm back home now, and I want to use this again. So even though I'm not there on site, this was really fun to use, and I want to do another painting with that of something that I saw there. So this is the one I did. You guys probably only saw that moments ago. And I took this picture, and there's another picture I kind of would have rather painted, but I really don't think that it's going to look like anything. So this is the one that I'm going to do a little bit of a representation of. Taking some artistic license, of course. I am going to use the water brush that came in the set because I want to practice with that more. But I did get a little container of water here so that I could clean the brush a little quicker, faster, easier. And I'm still working on the first glued pages, so that's why it's sticking up a little strangely. Once I get past those, these will all lie more flat, but I do want to use them like I've told you. So still using the slightly bent up pages there. Let's see what damage we can do. And you can tell already I am not sketching. Okay, but I just don't always like sketching, you know? Starting out with the sky, and yes, that's a small water brush for a large area, but it does work. I really love this natural beige color. I know I watched a review on this. I don't remember whose. I just stuck my finger in that. I'm really good at that. They didn't like the natural beige color because I don't remember why. That and the gray they didn't like. Maybe because it's pretty opaque or something, but I really like it. I also don't mind working with more opaque colors, so there is that. I really enjoyed working with this set again. It is such a fun set. The colors re-wet so easily, too easily actually, because I kept getting too much water in them. And it wasn't the water brush's fault, not at all. I was actually dipping over in the water dish off to the side, and then I just wouldn't dab off enough water. So it actually holds enough water. It doesn't seem to like leak out water from the water brush part of it. So that wasn't the issue. I was just getting too much water. So make sure you don't get too much water. Otherwise you end up having to go over your greens a lot, like I did. Also, the dark for this tree bush here, I had to go over a couple of times because I just was using too much water. So that's my own bad. I just have to figure out how to work with these things and do it the right way. Also, because I was using that first page that's glued kind of strangely, and it has to be that way to hold together anyway, I had to keep holding the paper down, and that was a little awkward. So I'm excited to use the next pages that aren't all glued down awkwardly. So here was where I decided to call it probably good enough for now. It's just a little sketch doodle anyway, and no big deal. But I remembered, oh, I have the little pen liner that came with the set. So I did want to go ahead and add that because you can see on the previous page I labeled that it was Moab, the trail was Cane Creek, and so on. So this one I did want to label that it was also Moab, and it was on the Poison Spider Trail where I got this photo reference. So I take the liner out and just do that, and it is a super thin liner. So in the future I might actually replace this with a 0.5 or a 0.3. For me, I think that might be a little more useful, but this one I think is a 0.1. It's tiny. I'll have to double check, but it's tiny. Anyway, stay tuned to the end if you want to see some bonus footage from Moab, from what we did that weekend, because it's fun. Oh, didn't make it. He didn't make it very far at all.
Oh, they're doing burnout!
Oh, no. They're still moving. Big truck coming up. It's one of my husband's business trucks. This is like the 5th or 6th try on this sandhill. Sweet! Pulled it out of there, I guess. That was scary for a minute. Every time I hit record, the birds outside are really loud. Sounds like they're in my house, but I don't think they are. Shut up! I don't think that'll help. Thanks so much for joining me today. If you're new here, I do 2 videos a week, and we do 2 art subscription boxes and watercolor mostly. We have a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed my Moab adventures. Thanks so much for joining me. Thank you to my existing subscribers. You guys are awesome. And I'm looking forward to getting to know you more in the comments. Have a great week.